Medicare for America.
Medicare for all who want it.
I just have a better way to do this. We need the public option.
Evolution, not a revolution.
Move Medicare down to 50. Allow people to buy in.
We don't have to go around and be the party of subtraction and telling half the country who has private health insurance that their health insurance is illegal.
Canada, they guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right.
I'm normally way over there with Bernie and Elizabeth on this one. I hear the others.
I'm not going to support any plan that rips away quality health care from individuals.
I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
Just a flavor from last night's debate in Detroit, another night tonight. A lot of the tracking is who people around America were searching before the debate on Google. The most searched names were Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and you see the breakdown in the states there where they were searching. And then during the debate, take a look at the searches on Google. Marianne Williamson in yellow. That's the number one searched candidate from the debate. Let's bring in our panel. Senior political analyst Britt Hume, Jonathan Swan, national political reporter for Axios, Leslie Marshall, Democratic strategist, and Jonah Goldberg, fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Britt, what about that debate and kind of what you saw?
Well, I will tell you this, Brett. I think that we're all watching these debates so closely and with such interest, but it is awfully early still. And I think what we have to be alert to is the likelihood that whatever effects these debates seem to be having on the race, not very permanent. The last round of debates, we had this Joe Biden take a bunch of hits from Kamala Harris. She comes up in the polls, he sinks in the polls, and here we are only weeks later. He's back up about where he was, and she is sunk again, which suggests that people, at this early stage are not reacting very strongly, and that their impressions are impermanent and soft. And so whatever comes out of these two nights, I question whether whatever the effects are going to last very long.
Yeah, we're a long way from the Iowa caucuses at the beginning of February, and that's the first contest. You have tonight, Leslie, you've got the stage with, again, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and others who are going to be swinging for the fences to try to make the third debate in September.
You're going to have Cory Booker and Kamala Harris bring up race, and they're definitely going to, I think, try and make Joe Biden, look to be the bad guy to the African-American community with busing, with legislation back in '94, the crime legislation. But Joe Biden has to come. He said he's not going to be as nice, and he has to come not with white gloves but with boxing gloves. And I don't mean punching anybody in the face, but he really does have to punch down the facts and fight these people, because he knows what they're going to come at him with. He needs to be more prepared than he was last time, because tonight is Joe Biden's to win or lose.
Because to Britt's point, while it came back, if he has another bad night, it may break that inevitability kind of track that he's been on.
You're reading my mind, because that's exactly what I think. Honestly, that is what I think. These bumps that we're seeing, even Julian Castro, look at everybody who's Googling him. He had a little bit of a bump. We're going to see that, for Marion. But for Joe Biden, because he is the front runner and because he has such high name recognition with his history as a vice president and his lifelong political career, he could suffer greatly if he doesn't perform well tonight.
Last night, Jonah, there really was this battle for the heart of the Democratic Party between the progressive or liberal side and the centrist. Here's John Delaney today on Fox and Friends.
The problem with the extreme left of the party, when you point out obvious flaws in the things they're talking about, they say, well, that's a Republican talking point. With Elizabeth Warren, when I point out that the things she's proposing are either impossible promises or fairy tale economics, she says, oh, you're not being ambitious enough.
Is it a battle that they could win?
No, I don't think so. Look, John Delaney for conservatives is sort of our spirit animal in the Democratic primaries these days, and I don't think he's going to get far. But the really remarkable thing, if you take a step back and look at this in historical context, is you realize just how unbelievably bad the Obama years were for the Democratic Party. They lost over 1,000 elected positions around the country. The vast majority of them, the moderate wing of the Democratic Party. All that was left were the people from the deep blue liberal centers of this country, and they basically took over the party. So the Elizabeth Warrens, the de Blasios, all of them, they have the reins of power in the party, and the moderate wing is more of a feather now because they're the ones who either survived the Obama wave or sort of unknowns. That the sort of first order talent of moderates were all wiped out under the Obama years, and so instead you have to sort of go back and get this guy essentially out of a retirement home named Joe Biden to play that role. And I think it's a real problem for the Democrats.
Jonathan, the president weighing in, if I hadn't won the 2016 election, we would be in a great recession, depression right now. The people I saw on stage last night, and you can add in Sleepy Joe, Harris, and the rest, will lead us into an economic sinkhole, the likes of which we've never seen before, with me only up. What's your perspective of how the president or the administration is looking at these debates and who they're looking at specifically?
So the Trump campaign, and I should be clear, the Trump political operation at this point is run by Jared Kushner very clearly. Everyone makes that very clear. Their strategy is to say that they're all the same. All of them are the same. Now, there are a few people within the campaign, or obviously not inside the campaign, but close to the campaign and in the White House, who think that they should be more aggressive in actually differentiating some of these candidates and attacking them. But the strategy from the campaign point of view has been to say they're all socialists. They all want to do these crazy left-wing things. And it seems like in that tweet, the president is playing into that. Of course, you can never really script this president for more than, 2 minutes at a time. So I'm not saying that he's going to continue along that track, but that's where that's coming from. That's a whole of campaign message at this point.
Yeah, and Britt, to your original point, the head-to-head matchups and the polls really don't count until you get one person up against the Donald Trump machine and his branding effort.
Yeah, Brett, I'm not sure that these debates will have that big or lasting a difference until the field is winnowed to some extent, which I don't think, probably won't happen out of this set of debates. It may start to happen next month because the debate qualifications for the next round are going to be so much more stringent, so many fewer candidates will qualify, and we'll begin to see that. But it is well to bear in mind that so far sentiment has proved to be soft and changeable, and Joe Biden, who looked like he was severely damaged the last time around, wasn't. It's not entirely clear to me that his performance tonight will, while obviously I guess he could help himself to some extent, as Leslie suggested, but I'm not sure he's going to be terribly damaged or anyone else terribly that much helped by what's happening in these very, very early debates.